After having an idea of how the first settlers of Chapala came to be, we will now talk about San Antonio Tlayacapan, which is the first town going west from Chapala. The first settlers in this area were gatherers of fruits, plants, and edible roots, who lived in small huts made of twigs and bushes or in caves on the hilltops. They were peaceful people. The men wore tongs made of cloth, and the women, who wore a typical long skirt, did not cover themselves from the waist up. Their gods were elements of nature itself. They venerated water, sun, earth, fire, and wind. They were observers of nature and cared for it, because it was nature that gave them all they needed to survive. The first name they gave to the town was just Tlayacapan, which means over the tip of the earth. However, there are versions that say there could have been another name predating that of Tlayacapan. In 1524, the conquest of the lakeside by the Spaniards was very peaceful. Only a few scattered tribes resisted and fought, but they were defeated by the conquistador Nuño de Guzman. In 1530, Franciscan friars arrived and submitted the tribes in a peaceful manner. These tribes were subject to the cacique or chieftain Chitomatl, who ruled from here to Cusalan, nowadays San Juan Cosala. The Spanish captain Alonso de Avalos conquered the area. This story repeats itself around the lakeside area, but there were differences, and all the towns claimed they were independent from each other. The friars intensified the evangelization with Friar Juan de Padilla and Friar Miguel de Bologna, who helped the natives through the plague and the different diseases brought by the Spanish. To be able to recognize each town officially, the first thing the friars did was to add a Christian name to the towns. This is why the name recognized by the authorities became San Antonio Tlayacapan, because a patron saint was determined to be Saint Anthony of Padua. They formed 4 barrios, or neighborhoods, each one with a different cross, one dedicated to the Virgin of Guadalupe, another to La Purísima Virgin Mary, one to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and one to Saint Joseph. Another located further away was given the name of Bonaventure, which later was changed to the Virgin del Pilar, Our Lady of the Pillar. Today it is known as the Church of El Pilar in Riberas. People living in different neighborhoods held festivities in honor of their virgin or saint, and on May 3rd there was and still is a festivity of the Holy Cross, which has now come to be celebrated by construction workers. 2 of the original crosses are still standing, the cross of the Virgin of Guadalupe and the cross of Saint Joseph, both dating from 1788. Of course, all these festivities were celebrated with rockets, and the neighborhood that launched the most rockets and fireworks would be the winner of the year. Today, many of these festivities continue to take place, especially the feast day of the Holy Cross. But the cost of rockets has increased so much that there are not as many as there used to be. In my opinion, there are still more than enough. If you take a walking tour around San Antonio, you will see the different crosses in their own barrios. Nowadays, the most important cross is the Cruz Atrial, the big cross in the atrium of the church. It is interesting to see the tower of the first church, built in 1554. The friars taught the natives to make baked adobe bricks, and it is amazing that the tower still stands erect. It is inside the primary school in front of the newest Catholic church on the main plaza, built in 1889. The town was very important as a brick manufacturer. Here is a very nice main square or plaza of San Antonio. In 1874, the elders of the town asked the owner, Don Martin Aldana, to sell the property. He had no official papers, but everybody knew that his parents had bequeathed the place to him. He sold the land very cheaply and in installments. The people of the town wanted a place to gather, especially during festivities. Young men would court the girls, with men strolling around the plaza to the right and women to the left. These young people were always accompanied by their friends. The boys would see the girls they liked with the idea of bringing them a serenade and asking permission from the parents to visit the chosen woman. Everything started at the main plaza. That is why it is so important. It was recently rebuilt, and the town people have maintained it very well to make it look its best. The Malecón or Lakeside Promenade was built several years ago and has greatly improved the area. It has become a bird sanctuary, which is very good, but as the plant growth has not been controlled, you can no longer see the beautiful lake. San Antonio has grown a lot. Much construction is taking place due to the demand for new housing, mainly for expats. Many discoveries have been made here too, such as pre-Hispanic shaft tombs, where burials and all kinds of pottery, necklaces, ornaments, and weapons have been found. Unfortunately, many of the discoveries have not been reported, and the property owners have kept these discoveries. Hello everyone. Today I would like to introduce you to Vicky Corona. Vicky has been a resident in San Antonio since she was born, and she, together with a group of residents as well of San Antonio, have written this wonderful book in Spanish, which records all the history of San Antonio from the very beginning. She has always been striving to keep the traditions of the town. And what is most important is that she has painted these amazing paintings here of each of the traditions of the town. The idea of showing them to you is for you to realize how everything took place in the past. She is going to explain to you in Spanish, but you will have the subtitles in English. Vicky, ¿nos podrías explicar la pintura de las sangrías de mayo?
Sí, como no, esta pintura fue hecha más o menos en los 70 y es una tradición que llegó todavía a los 60, que igual fue una de las tradiciones ancestrales que cuando llegaron los primeros misioneros que evangelizaron aquí el área ribereña, encontraron esta tradición que inicialmente solamente se llamaba sangrías, pero como era un tipo de ofrenda que se hacía al lago, se buscó, los evangelizadores se buscaron la forma de cambiarlo, de quitar esa ofrenda donde se perforaban oídos, nariz o cualquier parte del cuerpo para sacar sangre, verterla en búcaros y lanzarlos a la laguna, para solicitar a los dioses principalmente buenas cosechas, que todo fuera bien en la familia. Inclusive había unos especie de lagrimeros que eran donde también las mujeres que esperaban algún bebé lloraban y lanzaban las lágrimas en el lagrimero al lago. El lago era el que recibía todas estas ofrendas. Los evangelizadores, al ver que tenían que estar dando ofrendas de sangre, lo cambiaron y lo mencionaron después como sangrías de mayo. El nombre se siguió siendo sangrías de mayo, pero ya no involucraron ofrendas de sangre, sino baños. Se tenían que bañar 3 veces al día, el día primero, el día 2 y el día 3, que era el día de la cruz. En ese día se terminaban las sangrías de mayo, que ya ahora eran baños muy de madrugada. Por eso esta pintura traté de captar una madrugada, cuando bajaba la gente a bañarse muy temprano. La señora les gustaba mucho jugar en el agua, aplaudir en el agua, que esto hacían cantar el agua. Entonces desde el cerro había gente que escuchaba el sonido del agua y decían, están cantando el agua, porque las señoras eso era lo que hacían las manos conchitas y pegaban en el agua. Eso las hacía de diferente forma para que el sonido del agua se escuchara mejor. Había juegos, pues a esa hora ya también andaban los pescadores, y tratamos de tomar un poquito de todo esto. Se hacían las fogatas, como acá se ven, alrededor. Entonces, pues tratamos de captar esa tradición ancestral que pues se fue perdiendo, pero que en lo personal todavía me tocó vivir cuando estaba niña.
Está hermosa, Vicky, muchas gracias. Vamos ahora a ir a la siguiente pintura. This second painting is the dance of the egret and the worm, and she will tell us what it is about. Vicky, ¿de qué se trata esta pintura?
Bueno, en quisimos captar también otra de las tradiciones que se fueron perdiendo en los años, y que también viene de ser una danza ancestral, de nombre la garza y los gusanos. En este caso, pues nomás está representada por una garza y un gusano, que normalmente, como los indígenas en ese momento eran muy pobres, no utilizaban un vestuario muy complicado. Ellos solamente se ponían un pico de madera y se ponían una sábana blanca, y al gusano lo enredaban con una cobija, y ya hacían la danza de la garza y los gusanos, que era ofrendada el día de la Santa Cruz. Allí mencionaban también principalmente cuando llegaron los evangelizadores, también vieron que esta danza implicaba mucha agresión, porque los jóvenes que participaban algunas veces salían muy sangrados por los piquetes de la garza, que la madera era pues un pico. Entonces sí los llegaba a lastimar. Cuando llegaron los evangelizadores, pidieron que esa danza ya no se escenificara con esa agresión, sino que fuera expresada como una danza con música, y que fuera solamente de destreza y de armonía, pero que ya no implicaran los golpes que antes ancestralmente pues se habían dado en esta danza. Está representado el Día de la Cruz, principalmente con esa danza. Como normalmente todavía, si vienen a San Antonio el día de la Santa Cruz, es una fiesta que alegra en todo el pueblo, porque los barrios se visten de gala a sus cruces, y todos procuran tener la mejor fiesta. Cada uno llena se da comida, se da bebida, hay música, hay juegos también. Entonces son de las fiestas tradicionales ancestrales que se siguen conservando y que nunca se han perdido, y que al contrario, cada año vemos nosotros con mucho gusto que los barrios ponen todo de sí para que luzca esta fiesta del Día de la Cruz. Así que es muy bonito venir a visitar en ese día a San Antonio.
Muchas gracias, Vicky. Ahora vamos a ir a la siguiente pintura. Ok, Vicky, ahora dinos acerca de esta pintura.
Ajá. Bueno, esta pintura es el Viernes de Dolores. Es un viernes antes de lo de la Semana Santa. Aquí esta tradición tampoco ha perdido entre los años, no ha perdido su tradición, y en muchos hogares pueden ver la gente, podemos pasar ya desde las 6 o 7 de la tarde, las puertas se abren de las casas donde hay un incendio, que esto es lo que nosotros se le puso el nombre de incendio de Dolores, porque ese día se hace el altar dedicado a la Virgen de Dolores, y si la Virgen está llorando, se están dando agua fresca, porque la agua fresca simboliza las lágrimas de la Virgen de Dolores. Por eso vemos a los niños que se asoman y preguntan, ¿está llorando la Virgen? Porque pues a los niños les interesa tomar agua fresca de diferentes sabores que se dan ese día. Entonces vemos que la gente, salimos ese día, también es muy bonito pasear por las calles del pueblo y entrar a esos hogares que a veces pues normalmente uno no entra sin pedir permiso, y ese día las puertas están abiertas y todo mundo puede entrar a visitar los altares. Buscan la forma de poner en los altares lo tradicional, que son las ramas de sauce o también de pirul, para que dé aroma y para que las ramas que tienen bonita caída estén adornadas con los diferentes volantines de colores. Y también en esos días también es muy común que se adorne mucho ese altar, principalmente con la flor de la manzanilla, los lirios, los alcatraces y pues cualquier otra flor de esa temporada, pero tradicionalmente es la manzanilla, los lirios y los alcatraces los que vienen a adornar el altar de Dolores. Por eso también es muy bonito venir en la Semana Santa, una semana antes, para alcanzar a venir a entrar y ver los incendios que se hacen en los diferentes hogares.
Muchas gracias, Vicky. Vicky, ¿nos puedes hablar acerca de esta pintura de las fiestas patronales de San Antonio, por favor?
Sí, como no. Aquí en las fiestas patronales también ha sido muy tradicional ver nosotros como alrededor de la plaza se llena de fuegos que vienen para la alegría de los niños. En ese día también hay otra de las tradiciones que antes lucían mucho, ahora vienen de diferentes lados, pero antes de San Juan Cosala, Ajijí y San Antonio se vendía mucho lo que es el pan artesanal que se sigue haciendo en San Juan Cosala y en Ajijí. En San Antonio estamos rescatando esta tradición porque inicialmente era la fiesta patronal de San Antonio donde más se vendía que en otros lugares. Entonces era pues venían gentes de diferentes lados porque se hacía diferentes tamaños de panes, sobre todo como pues es la mestiza y la sema y el tachihual. Era muy rico ver el aroma y sentir el aroma y ver todos los guacales llenos del pan que ese día se vendía. Se vendían diferentes frutas porque pues junio es uno de los meses en los que hay mangos, hay ciruelas, hay guamúchiles, hay de diferentes frutas del cerro que aquí en San Antonio se vendían muy bien. Entonces de diferentes puestos, pero lo bonito también como los juegos, este juego que era mecánico a base de la fuerza del hombre lo hacían girar. Entonces para mí cuando estaba niña era muy impresionante ver cómo los hombres fuertes hacían girar la ola, que aquí la quise poner también como uno de los juegos que ha desaparecido. Ahora los juegos son electrónicos principalmente, o de energía, pero ese que era a base de la fuerza de los hombres, sí era muy atrayente ver cómo lo hacían girar. Y también nos gustaba ver lucir cómo al final de la noche podíamos ver los castillos de diferentes patrocinadores o personas de los que tenían los cargos, hacían su castillo para ofrendarlo a San Antonio de Padua, que es nuestro santo patrono, y que pues para nosotros es muy bonito seguir esa tradición de las fiestas patronales, con todo lo que implica sus danzas, sus carros alegóricos, las procesiones y las mandas que pues se siguen dando para San Antonio de Padua. Sí.
Ay, Vicky, pues muchas gracias que nos permitiste entrar a tu hogar y que nos has explicado todas estas tradiciones tan bellas de San Antonio. Muchas gracias.
Pues tenemos algunas más, pero ya en otra ocasión.
Muchas gracias. Vicky created all these paintings based on the memory she has of her childhood. Although most of the traditions continue, they have changed with the years. Gastronomy. In San Antonio Tlayacapan, there are several traditional dishes, such as grilled fish and grilled shrimp. Today we are at Mario's, a typical neighborhood restaurant. Jaime Enciso, the owner of the restaurant, Cynthia Karina Enciso, and Mariel Nogueron, who are the chefs of the place, have prepared for us pipián, a delicious dish made with pumpkin peeps and a variety of chiles, hot peppers. Originally, they would use a matate, a pre-Hispanic mortar, and a pestle used as a blender to make a sauce. The result is this great dish we have here, which you eat with tortillas. They have also prepared another dish called pozole. In Mexico, there are 5 different varieties of pozole. Pozole derives from the Nahuatl word pozoli. It is made of a variety of big corn called cacahuacintle or hominy and pork or chicken. In Jalisco, it is prepared in a red broth with 2 different types of red peppers. In the state of Guerrero, pozole is green with tomatoes and it's garnished with chicharrón, fried pork rinds, and avocado. In almost all of Mexico, the broth is white and topped with lettuce, radishes, lemon juice, chopped onion, and oregano. In the coastal state of Colima, pozole is made with shrimp, octopus, and clam broth. Finally, there is a vegetarian pozole made with mushrooms. All varieties are normally eaten with tostadas, crisp, fried, or dehydrated tortillas. Traditions of San Antonio. San Antonio has 3 very important traditions. The Passion of Christ during the Holy Week is probably the most important. 50 years ago, people would have a very passive participation. They would attend church every day and whisper when they needed to talk. Music was not allowed anywhere, and you would have to fast every day. The atmosphere was very sad and depressing. It was a time to repent from all your sins and go to confession with the priest. Many people would offer sacrifices in order to obtain forgiveness for the unjust crucifixion of Christ for our sins. When the Catholic order of the Salesians arrived, things started changing. They organized activities for the youngster called Easter gatherings, and children would participate in Chiquipascuas, or Children's Easter. They were just meditation activities, but would finish with a joyful parade on Easter Sunday. Years later, a group of young people started organizing the representation of the Passion of Christ. 80 young adults from the town played a role in this passion play, and the tradition is still followed. On Maundy Thursday, they represent the prayer of Gethsemane, the betrayal of Judas, and the trial. All this at the local theater within the primary school in front of the new church. On Friday is the Via Crucis, which goes through the main streets of the town and up to the mountain where Jesus is crucified. People accompany the procession under the midday sun. Friday night, the procession of silence takes place. The second tradition is a patron saint's festivity. Saint Anthony of Padua was designated as patron saint of the town, and on June 1st, marriageable girls from all the surrounding towns would come to pull the patron's belt, asking for a boyfriend to marry. Some others would come to pray for special miracles. People would go barefoot from San Antonio to Chapala as an offering for a resolved situation, or go on their knees from their house to the temple. All these were called mandas, a promised act of penitence, but each was offered with love, and people would be happy to fulfill it because they had received a miracle. These mandas have fallen into disuse today. The third tradition are the posadas. These are joyful events that take place from December 16 to the 25th in preparation for the birth of Christ. During the posadas, people would organize a nativity play and install a big, beautiful manger in the portals of the church. A couple was chosen to be Jesus' godparents, and on January 6th, they would take the image of baby Jesus into the church to celebrate a Mass, and afterwards they'd invite everybody to a big party. Unfortunately, the priest of the church has now prohibited all these activities, and today the posadas are parties where people drink and forget the real meaning of the celebration. But families still place a manger scene in their homes, and of course the Christmas tree, which is really a European tradition. Clothing. This very nice dress is the typical dress used in the past, and nowadays it is used when there are special festivities. San Antonio is an indigenous community. They make their dresses with manta, which is crude cotton, always with embroidered blouses, colorful belts, the rebozo shawl that is always present, and finally the huaraches or sandals. Handcrafts. The main items produced in San Antonio were bricks and pottery. They no longer fabricate bricks, and very little pottery is produced here. However, there is an artisanal bread called tachihual, which is made of flour, introduced by the Spanish, and molasses. It has to be cooked in a brick oven, and it takes around 6 hours to bake. We have the oven here, and this is the bread. This bread is said to have originated in San Juan Cosala, but Ajijic also claims the creation, and there is a festivity of the tachihual, of which we will talk when we go to Ajijic. However, the tachihual is sold much more in San Antonio than in other towns. Legends of San Antonio Tlayacapan. The first expat of British origin to come to live to San Antonio was Peter Lilly. He came to be known as Don Pedro the Brit. He did not speak Spanish, but every day he would walk the streets trying to learn speaking Spanglish. He was a writer, and he built a house in front of the lake where he wrote "Village in the Sun" and "House in the Sun." In these books, he described the culture and wealth of the lakeside towns, which he saw as magical towns, where there were many economic needs, but abundant faith and warm-hearted people. He became a social activist in the 1940s and helped families in various ways. He bought and donated lands for clinics. Unfortunately, the chiefs of the town in those days took advantage and kept the donations for themselves. Loving Mexico thanks you for being with us today. Be sure to subscribe and leave a comment. Continue watching our videos and enjoy Loving Mexico.